Hello. Have you ever heard the cough of a person with whooping cough? Have you ever heard the actual sound that they make, the actual gasping for air that they feel? If not, let me show you. As you can see, and I'm sure you've heard, the disease is incredibly painful. And I'm sure it's not only painful for the people who have it, it's painful for the people around them who have to listen to their loved ones with that cough, with that sound coming from their lungs or from their throat. It sounds like it's so painful, and I've never had it, but I can imagine that anyone who does would feel that pain, and I'm sure it's hard for others to deal with as well. In 2013, the Journal of Pediatrics reported that California had its worst whooping cough outbreak. They also said that most cases were caused by a large number of children who weren't vaccinated. Whooping cough is a deadly disease, but it's also preventable. Numerous other deadly diseases are preventable, but people are still getting them. And why? Because people are still avoiding the very thing that protects us from these deadly diseases, and that's vaccines. According to the data derived from national health officials and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention by Time magazine, on average there are about 60 cases of measles reported to the US every year. The last major outbreak of the mumps reported that there was a multi-state outbreak of 6,584 reported cases, which is less than 20 cases the year before was considering usual. And in 2012, a county in Indiana experienced a major chickenpox outbreak of more than 80 cases, which was thought to start from an unvaccinated child. Each of these has the potential to be deadly and can have long-term effects, or both. Many people don't consider measles to be a deadly disease, or a dangerous disease for that matter, but according to the CDC, it can be fatal to young children in specific. It also can cause hearing loss, serious brain damage, and bronchitis, and in rare cases, panencephalitis. Panencephalitis is a fatal condition. No one has ever had panencephalitis and lived afterwards. No one's ever recovered from it. Everyone who has it dies. The mumps is another disease that appears to be very minor and very mild, but it also has serious long-term effects. According to the CDC again, the mumps can cause meningitis, encephalitis, and deafness, and in rare cases, death. Chickenpox, again, is a disease that in recent years has not been a cause of death, or at least hasn't been considered a deadly disease in our lifetime, but it still has serious side effects. Again, according to the CDC, the chickenpox has the potential to give someone a serious skin infection, pneumonia, dehydration, and encephalitis. It may not directly kill you, but it can leave you vulnerable to other things that will kill you. And it's also widely known that it causes shingles further on in the person's life. Before the vaccine for chickenpox was made, quote, about 4 million people got chickenpox every year in the United States. Over 10,500 people people with chickenpox were hospitalized, and about 100 to 150 people died. That's the cases per year, and yes, there's a much bigger population than those who died from it, but that's still a fatal disease. It's still a disease that used to cause death. And the vaccine for chickenpox finished that. We didn't see deaths from chickenpox after the vaccine. So why aren't we vaccinating? These are just 3 diseases that we may consider mild, but they have side effects that few people know about. And the side effects have not been very widely publicized, and so people think that vaccines aren't necessary. There are so many other vaccine preventable diseases as well that are even worse than the diseases I just described. So for these reasons, we must find ways to prevent people from choosing not to vaccinate. I believe that the best ways to do this is to educate people on the topic. And how can we do this? Through the use of expert-led public forums, mass immunization programs, and newsletters that explain the importance of vaccinating. Expert-led public forums bring the expert to your area where they can educate the general public and be there to answer anyone's questions. Mass immunization programs set standards for what vaccines are necessary for a person to enter a certain area. So like people or young children going to school have to be vaccinated to be in the same classroom as others. Teachers must be vaccinated so they don't pass or receive any illnesses from children. And the same goes for hospitals. Nurses and doctors are around sick people every day, and if they get sick, then they can't help those people. So they must be vaccinated so they don't pass the disease to a sick person or contract the disease from a sick person. Mass immunization programs also provide a local opportunity for people to get vaccines. We've seen these in action in current years, like when the swine flu was going on a couple of years ago. It was so deadly and everyone was horrified of it coming to their area, so everyone gathered, or the community provided areas in local schools or community centers where nurses were available to give people vaccinations and inform people on the vaccinations and prevent that disease from spreading any further into your community. In addition to those, newsletters can be mailed to people so that we can receive information on our doorsteps. These newsletters can contain information on what vaccines are necessary for that time. They can inform you on what the flu is doing to people this year and what you can look out for. It can also show you where you can get these vaccines in your local area and what certain vaccines have done to eradicate the diseases that they're trying to prevent. These will give people facts and information in a way that they can understand and hopefully convince people to once again trust vaccinations. Imagine a world where chickenpox isn't present, a world where whooping cough isn't present, or a world where measles isn't present. Imagine every fatal infectious disease being completely eradicated from this planet. This is the ultimate goal of vaccinations, to end the occurrence of infectious diseases. With the rapid growth in our healthcare system today, one day this might be possible. That sounds a little far-fetched. It's hard to eradicate a disease completely, but maybe one day we can do that, and vaccines is just one step ahead towards doing that. Why shouldn't we try to vaccinate? Why should we take one step back when we could take one step forward in getting rid of these diseases? One day, we may be telling stories to our grandchildren about a strange disease that caused itchy red spots on our skin called chickenpox. Or one day we'll be telling them about a cough that literally takes your breath away. Until that point, we have to continue vaccinating. We must do all that we can to prevent these diseases from affecting those around us. One of the easiest ways to educate yourself on the topic of vaccinations is to do a simple Google search. Take a look at the CDC's website for vaccines, or take a look at the World Health Organization's website. Look at the many benefits that humans have gotten since the creation of vaccines. Look at the many deaths and illnesses that have been caused since the recent anti-vaccination movement has been publicized and become part of the common culture. Then share that information with your friends and family. Email your local governments about the information you've learned. Tell them about the benefits that vaccines can have in making your community healthier. Let's end the anti-vaccination movement together and look forward to a healthier future. Thank you.